The fact that people in Northern Ireland are being targeted because of the colour of their skin should sicken every right-thinking citizen of the United Kingdom. Nothing can justify the violence that we saw on the streets of Northern Ireland last night, with masked thugs trying to burn and intimidate people out of their homes. Those organising these protests claim they're doing so to protect communities. In fact, they're doing the very opposite. They are damaging communities and hurting people who are innocent and who have been terrified.
See those freedom fighters that were looking after Belfast last night? They chased a nurse on her way to work just because of the colour of her skin. It's 2026. And yes, look, what happened was absolutely horrendous, and the guy who did it is going to get what's coming to him. But you cannot target minorities in society because the actions of one person. We don't hear anything when white men commit the crimes. There's no outrage. This is like selective outrage. And I get that people are angry and they want somewhere to focus their anger. But Elon Musk and Nigel Farage have you on toast. They know that if they stir you up, you will blame immigrants for all your problems, when actually, if billionaires paid all of their tax and did things properly, the country would be in a better position anyway. Maybe the problem is rich white men and not poor brown people. And the people rioting in Glasgow, shame on you.
So somebody says in the comments, you don't understand. Several people said, you don't understand. No, I don't understand. Enlighten me, please. Somebody says, you don't understand. They are a threat to our way of life. What the fuck do you mean? Can we stop using cliches when we communicate, please, and just be more specific? How exactly, what do they threaten? What is your way of life? How exactly do they threaten your way of life? What the hell do you mean?
27 people were made homeless last night because people went door to door to try and target foreign nationals to burn them out of their homes. I can only imagine the terror. A 2-month-old is the youngest victim who had to be moved from her home. And I don't think any of us will ever be able to forget the image of a 9-year-old child and their family being put in the back of a Land Rover to be rescued from violent, racist thugs who were seeking to undermine them and to undermine their very sense of belonging in a country that many had lived in for decades.
So why is it important to guard our hearts? Why is it important, again, when love is diminished, that hatred enters the individual in question, now spiritual evils, aka is under spiritual enthrallment from the ruler of this world. In Exodus explains the demonic against the Satan army of fallen angels, Father Gabrielle Amorth defines temptation, spiritual enthrallment, as, and again, this is concerning those consumed, dominated by hatred, those who claim to be of Christ, but again, have hatred in their hearts, they are dominated by that type of demonic spirit. So Jesus himself submitted to temptation during the 40 days he spent in the desert after his baptism in Jordan. See Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11 later on. The devil tempts us both in our natural dimension, that is, in our interior wounds and weaknesses, and through the various occasions of sin that present themselves to us. Temptation is dangerous because it is difficult to uncover in the folds of our thoughts, words, works, and omissions. Discernment is necessary, that is, we must have a well-trained eye and a spiritual intelligence that helps us to recognize the claw of the tempter and those who bring us straight to sin. We must reject them, instead accept the good inspiration that come from God. Therefore, it is necessary to guard our hearts and our external senses from indecent spectacles. Each of us becomes what we see, what we listen to, and what we read. Therefore, let's be discerning what we see and what we listen to, and above all, let's choose good friends. It is necessary to have a well-formed conscience. A good conscience not achieved by elevating oneself, or worse yet, allowing the dominant culture to arbitrate good and bad. A good conscience attained by conforming one's will to God's will and to his teachings, which are given for us for happiness, our salvation, are summarized in the highest degree in the commandments. Temptation is conquered by vigilance, avoiding sin, and praying, because without the help of God, we are not capable of conquering the seduction of sin. No one except from temptation. Some of the saints even have tremendous temptations, even on their deathbeds. From their testimonies, you understand, as long as we have breath, we shall never be free from temptations borne by Father Gabrielle Amorth. And again, his point, again, concerning discernment, we have to guard our hearts from indecent spectacles. Each of us becomes what we see, what we listen to, what we read. Again, what we consume, we become. And again, we have to be discerning concerning who our friends are and who we allow into our life. Those, again, Those who lead us straight to sin, so these idolaters, the Trump supporters who sold their souls for a single human being, they are to be rejected. Their human Messiah are to be rejected. Those consumed by hatred, again, they are not saved because they do not have God's Holy Spirit. So they are to be, again, rejected, and their victims saved from them, and they themselves are to be saved from what has consumed and dominated them. This is our mission. They are to be rejected as being part of Christ's kingdom, rejected of being part of the church. And when it comes to all of this concerning dealing with all these people who are vexed under vexation, consuming that demonic spirit, and why we have to reject them, and when it comes to having to debate what's inside them, it is far better to not argue with their demons and to start doing deliverance prayers on them. And I will reiterate this point, at least Father Inuzi will.
When a person outright condemns that which the church has approved of, that's a demonic spirit. That's a demonic spirit. They're not even aware of it themselves, I'm sure. Some people have their preconceived ideas of what the church should do, where it should be going, and they put themselves in the way of the Holy Spirit. And how are you going to convince a person who's already made up their own mind? You cannot. All you can do is say, I follow the church and the church's code of canon law and the church's magisterial teachings. Full stop. I do not agree with people who publicly condemn that which the church has officially approved, because it is the teaching of the church that such behavior is reprehensible. This goes back hundreds of years ago. I don't have the document in front of me, but one of the quotes stated that when the church gets a seal of approval to the work and you publicly condemn it, you're acting reprehensibly. So basically, you're trying to convince reprobates or reprehensible individuals. Good luck with that. You know, why waste your time in God's ways trying to do that when you're not obliged to?